Hey everybody. Today we are going to be talking about kinetic energy. That's the first thing we're going to be talking about. The second thing we're going to be talking about is gravitational potential energy. And last but not least, we're going to be talking about the law of conservation of energy. There's a lot of energy in the room, might I add. I'm so punny. Anyway, the first thing is obviously kinetic energy. What is kinetic energy? Well, kinetic energy is the energy of a moving object because of its motion. Well, in order to find that, we need to talk about our equation. Our equation is Ke, which is your kinetic energy. It equals half of your mass times your velocity squared. Okay, and mass is measured, the unit for it is kilograms, and your speed is measured in meters per second squared. Now, on to our little word problem. A jogger who has a mass of 60 kilograms is moving at a speed of 3 meters per second. What is the jogger's Ke, which is your kinetic energy? So, we do not know our kinetic energy. We have already written our equation down here. So, what we're going to do is find your mass in our equation, which is 60. So, we are going to, I'll write it over here actually. Half, my bad, half let's do this, mass, which is 60, times your velocity squared. And so,
What's the velocity?
oh, I forgot to put that in there. Your velocity is 3.0 meters per second squared. So you write that in there. You can just write 3 squared. And so half of 60, does anyone know what half of 60 is?
I know.
What is it?
It's 30.
You are correct. So you're going to write 30. And does anyone know what 3 squared is?
Nope.
Well, I'll just tell you. It equals 9. So you are going to multiply 30 by 9. Okay. And if you were to type that in your calculator or just do it on here, 0 times 9 is 0, and 9 times 3 is 27. Now, that is your final answer. Now, for your units, it would be meters per second squared, right?
I think it's kilogram meters per second squared. Is that the same as a joule? Is kinetic energy measured in joules?
I think it is, actually. Next thing, we're going to be talking about gravitational potential energy. So, to shorten that up, I just like to call it GPE. And for those who don't know what that is the energy stored by objects due to the position above the Earth's surface. Now, GPE is measured in joules, and that equals your mass, which is measured in kilograms, times your gravity, your acceleration of your gravity, which is meters per second squared, and your height is measured in meters. So, when you write that out in your equation, it's GPE equals M times G times H. So you have your mass, your gravity, and your height. So, let's move on to our equation. So, what is the GPE of a ceiling fan with a mass of 7 kilograms, and it's 4 meters above the ground. So we know our height already, and our height is 4 meters. So you're just going to write that down, 4 meters. And then your mass, which is measured in kilograms. So if you look at our equation, that equals 7. Right.
That's the mass, not the gravity.
Oh, my bad. I was just not paying attention. You know, teacher has a hard day sometimes.
What's G? There's no G in there. It doesn't say.
Well, if we look up here, that is your gravity, which is always going to equal 9.8 meters per second squared. Okay, so in order to do this problem, as it says in here, now in the problem it does not tell you your gravity. So what you're going to do first is you're going to multiply your 7.0, which is your mass. You're going to multiply your mass by your height. And when you do that, 7.0 times 4, you should hit 0, 280. You should get 280.
No. 7.0.
That is a point. So,
So you have to put your
28.
decimal at the bottom.
Okay. My bad. So you get 28. Now you're not done with this problem yet. You have to plug in your gravity. So then you're going to plug that in over here. So you got 28.0. You multiply that by 9.8, which is going to give you, we have already calculated it, so it is going to give you 274.4. And that is your final answer. And your SI units is going to be in joules. So that is your answer. Now, moving on to our last but not least thing we're going to talk about today. We're going to be talking about the law of conservation of energy. Now, the first thing about it is energy cannot be created or destroyed. It is indestructible and it cannot be created. So, the second thing is friction converts mechanical energy into thermal energy. So it's basically switching. And the last
Can you
thing,
show me an example of that? Like if friction, how does friction do that? How does it make it thermal energy?
well, do you know how?
No, show me.
Well,
Like what if you... Mechanical energy, I know what that is. That's like when you move.
well,
So if you have friction when you're moving, how does it...
well, friction is something sliding past each other. So, consider if you're rubbing your hands together. And you rub faster and faster. It's creating thermal energy because when you do that, your hands are turning hot. And then they cool off.
It gets warm, so that's thermal. Okay, I get it.
And the last thing is fission and fusion are nuclear reactions that convert small amounts of mass in a nucleus in an enormous amount of energy. So,
What's the difference between fission and fusion?
fusion is when they are coming together. Because if you think about it, if you fuse something together, you are combining it into one. So, and then fission is the total opposite, which is separating it from each other. And so,
Very interesting.
now that we have finished up our lesson, we have talked about, let's review. We've talked about our kinetic energy, gravitational potential energy, and last but not least, our law of conservation of energy. Have a great day.